Welcome to Midweek News, episode 132. This is the first of the bi-weekly episodes that will last at least the summer of 2025. Let's get started. Android 16 has been released. Major features include Material 3 visual refresh, live updates on lock screen similar to iOS live activities, advanced protection and anti-scam features, notification cooldown to reduce repetitive alerts, Linux terminal with Android virtualization framework, Find Hub, redesigned Find My Devices feature, experimental DeX-style desktop mode for productivity, and much more. Available now for Pixel devices and rolling out to others during 2025 and into 2026. Ubuntu 25.10 to remove GNOME on Xorg session. It seems we have a trend starting for upcoming Linux distributions, with Ubuntu, Kubuntu, and Fedora announcing the end of GNOME on Xorg sessions as a default feature. This is partly driven by the upcoming GNOME 45 dropping X11 session support. It will be interesting to see how much of a backlash there is over this decision, or if people will just go on as usual. Rocky Linux 10 is now available. Support introduced for 64-bit RISC-V and dropped support for 32-bit applications. You even get remote desktop protocol by default. Check out the release notes or the article for additional details. XLibre 25.0 released as inaugural X.org server fork. XLibre 25 comes with various code cleanups as well as work on some new functionality. These are early days for XLibre, but considering it is based on decades of work that has been put into Xorg, it should be relatively stable in the first few releases. More details can be found in the article. macOS 26 has been announced. Spotlight is finally getting some much needed attention in macOS 26. Apple is bringing more features from Alfred and Raycast into native Spotlight. Some built-in features will include create a calendar event, send an email or message, start a timer or memo, play a podcast, run shortcuts, trigger app-specific commands, including menu bar items. It will also be introducing quick keys, which will just make things quicker to access and enhance macOS for those of us who try to stay on the keyboard as much as possible. macOS is coming in the fall and is currently available in beta for developers. macOS dropping support for airport time capsule disk time machine backups in 2026. Apple disbanded the router team in 2016 and exited the business in 2018. Finally, they are doing the deed and officially cutting support for their long obsolete networking hardware in 2026. So while this equipment may be safe in macOS 26, you are on borrowed time to replace these items. Realistically, I cannot believe that many people are using this type of pre-pandemic networking equipment in 2025. I'm not sure too many people will notice. macOS 26 will get an option for lightweight Linux VMs. From the description, this sounds like an alternative to Docker. The containers are going to use OCI-compliant images, and this new Apple containerization framework will continue to add flexibility to macOS for those who want to use a Mac desktop and need to do Linux server-side development. I'm looking forward to testing the functionality after the macOS Tahoe release. Steam finally goes native on Apple Silicon. You heard that correctly. Apple Silicon released in 2020, and it's just now in 2025 that Steam has gone native. The push to make this happen is that Apple announced at WWDC that Rosetta 2 emulation is going away in macOS 27, coming in the fall of 2026. There are instructions in the article to enable the beta if you have not done so already. I will be testing this myself over the coming weekend. I've been on hiatus from gaming and I'm itching to get back into it. Bill Atkinson has passed away. Bill was employee number 51 at Apple. His claim to fame was being the co-creator of the Apple Lisa and Macintosh. Bill was also responsible for Lisa Sketch and MacPaint. Bill was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in October 2024. Rest in peace, Bill. MacBook Upgrade Program. This program, offered through a service called Upgraded, lets you finance a MacBook Air or Pro over 36 months, and once you complete 24 payments, you can upgrade to a new one or make the remaining 12 payments and own it outright. An interesting option, especially if you're using a Mac in a small company or nonprofit where you need to spread the payments out. Rufus 4.9 is an emergency fix. This release fixes an unofficial Windows ISO user experience bug. Also addressed is a server-related issue that prevented download from the official Rufus website. If you're a Rufus user, you'll want to grab the update. Secure Boot is not so secure after all. 2 CVEs related to Secure Boot. CVE 2025-3052, a sign tool with dangerous implications. This issue exploits vulnerabilities present in a firmware flashing utility by DT Research and signed using Microsoft's UEFI CA 2021 certificate. The tool can disable Secure Boot outright. CVE 2025-47827, the Linux shim problem. This targets anyone relying on Microsoft's third-party UEFI CA certificate to validate boot components. Attackers with brief physical access can leverage the IGEL shim to load malicious bootloaders or kernel code and bypass secure boot protections. To protect yourself, patch your systems, lock down firmware settings, reevaluate Microsoft's signature trust, consider custom keys, monitor firmware for unexpected changes. I'm still torn on Secure Boot and the reliance on Microsoft signed keys, even for Linux systems. It's a slippery slope. Audacity 3.7.4 released. Features: improved effect preview, studio fade out, waveform rendering. Several bugs have also been addressed in this release. Flowkeeper. Described as a Pomodoro timer for power users, Flowkeeper is cross-platform and available on Linux, macOS, and Windows. The app has recently reached a 1.0 stable release. I've used various Pomodoro timer apps on my phone over the past couple of years to keep myself motivated and pushing forward on projects. If you need a little help or just a reminder to take a break from screen time, Flowkeeper might be the tool for you. The link is for the Flatpak version on Linux. You can find other versions on flowkeeper.org. Framework 12 in the news. The base pre-built option starts at $7.99, but they are offering a DIY edition if you have memory storage and an operating system you want to load yourself. The article gives a nice review, and for the first generation of the product, it's a pretty positive one at that. Honestly, my biggest complaint is the single channel memory on the unit. Unfortunately, to get the 12-inch form factor, some concessions had to be made. I'm vastly more inclined to get the Framework 13, but that is still off in the distance. OnlyOffice 9.0 is now available. If you're looking for a non-Microsoft Office suite that ticks the box of running cross-platform and looks more like Microsoft Office, you may want to give OnlyOffice a try. This version does add some AI functionality, but they made the same decision to have it disabled by default. I have to admit that it looks pretty slick, albeit a little too much of the Microsoft Office style ribbon for my taste. Your mileage may vary. Camtasia Web Recorder. Camtasia now has a free web-based screen recorder. The great part is that it works cross-platform with Chrome officially and Chromium-based browsers unofficially. My testing has been done with Brave on Ubuntu and it worked quite well. Keep in mind that this is only a recorder, and to get the full benefits of the Camtasia ecosystem, you will need a Windows or macOS system with a current subscription to do the editing. If you're just wanting to use the basic features and forgo some editing functionality, you can export to an MP4 and edit in any video editing software. Give it a try. Visit camtasia.techsmith.com. LibreOffice 25.8 is available for beta testing. Some changes include performance improvements for loading writer documents and docx files. Calc has improvements for opening Excel XLSX files, new functions added to Calc, a new application-wide viewer model for opening documents in read-only mode, import support for encrypted hybrid PDFs. Support has been removed for Windows 7, 8, and 8.1. This should be a solid release when it is finally available in August. And that, my friends, is going to bring us to the end of episode 132. I changed this up a little bit, dividing things into sections. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure it needs some further refinement. But on that note, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.